Murray's costume Manor is the setting of FNAF's most recent release, Secret of the Mimic, and it's also one of my favorite locations from the entire series. The recent release of a VR port for the game made me really want to take a good look at the location. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you may know that I already kind of covered the MCM and went over a good amount of the building. The thing is, those videos kind of sucked, and I personally don't think they really hold up even after being out for just a year. Today, I'm going in depth with this location and talking about why it works as well as it does. I'll be talking about the immense amount of details the building has, how the environments enhance the scare factor of the animatronics, and even comparing the location to others in the series. First, however, I think it is important to understand the context behind why this building exists to begin with. So, what is Murray's Costume Manor exactly? Well, it's kind of in the name. It's a factory that makes costumes for clients in the entertainment industry. Well, that's what it was originally. Before Edwin owned the place, it was actually his father's business and did just focus on costumes and maybe a few animatronics. Once Edwin got control, he started to transform the company into something more. He still made costumes, but also started making a number of things as well. Most of these would be inventions like the ever popular Cleanovac and Magic Coat Rack. He also started creating more advanced animatronics and costumes, even striking a deal with Fazbear Entertainment to design a whole location and cast of characters for them. Not only was this massive factory a family legacy, it was also their home. Edwin lived essentially where he worked. This place meant the world to him. I mean, it was his father's after all. He'd of course want to continue and expand on the legacy, so this place meant everything to him, and you can see that in every part of the building. That's the basics of it. A family business turned into a creative playground for an insanely inventive son. It also serves as an important location for Fazbear Entertainment, as it's where a ton of their characters originated. It's a highly important place in the lore, and the sheer amount of detail put into it is proof of that on its own. Now that you know why the building exists, let's get into all those details and explore what makes the MCM one of, if not the best FNAF location to date. We start outside with the intro of the game. The first impressions are grim. The building is clearly abandoned and decaying, looking like it's been left alone for quite a long time. Construction cones, forklifts, boarded up windows, flickering lights. These are all details which really sell that feeling of abandonment. The state of the pavement out front also helps with this quite a bit. A smaller detail that you can easily miss is a van similar to yours, but all dirty and decaying. It's again setting the tone for the entire game. Also in this intro area, we can really see the scale of the MCM. It's obviously nowhere near the scale of something like the Pizzaplex, but it is quite a large place. The playground area is another great example of how neglected the building really is. Around here are countless stacks of pallets, along with rotting playground equipment, and the whole thing is just a bit creepy. It's here where you also see some of these starkly contrasting areas within this game. The actual place you enter is bright and flashy, and quite welcoming. That kind of warmth, being directly surrounded by all the rot and decay, is a stunning visual. The entrance is like a glint of hope in an otherwise dead void. The brightly lit billboard adds to this feeling. This feeling of hope continues within the welcome show. It's all bright and cheery, and it does something that I love in games. Suddenly, almost out of nowhere, it malfunctions, shutting down and turning the room dim red. The joyful animatronics are now shrouded in shadows and darkness, making them feel ominous, and once again, being an example of that stark contrast of cheerful and creepy seen all around the building. If you look up while in here, you can also see a costume hanging from the ceiling, one that contains a dark secret within. You then enter the storage room, which is even more creepy. The space is filled with dormant costumes, along with an array of different cutouts, boxes, and workstations. The room feels real, like something you'd really see in the back of a costume factory. That's one thing to note about most of these places. They actually feel real, which is something that quite a lot of FNAF locations just lack. I'll go more into detail later, but take note of that. This room is a look into Edwin's mind. He is an artist, and art is a messy process. Trust me, my head looks just like this room does, with ideas and concepts being thrown about everywhere, but very little stuff actually gets complete. This area gets way more scary as soon as you learn that the mimic can be inside of any one of the many costumes around. You'll never really know where he'll be. A smaller detail that I somehow never noticed until doing research for this video is that you can actually see the Jackie vent above you in this room. It makes it feel more connected, which is a running theme with a lot of the rooms within this location. Speaking of Jackie, that's the next area to cover. It feels far more abandoned than the storage area. They're both messy, but the storage being messy feels less out of place than this room being messy. Trash is everywhere, and there's a big hole in the wall. It's definitely seen better days. Shelves that once lined the walls are scattered, creating a tighter room than it really should be. It makes the area uncomfortable to be in, almost a twisting maze. Everything is in disarray. The actual room that Jackie's box is found in would probably be quite festive and welcoming under different circumstances, but here it's just unsettling. The cardboard cutouts sit in shadows. Their eyes feel like they're watching your every move. Once the spotlight shines down on the box, it becomes even more ominous. It's all just very creepy. Once you walk through the next hall, you notice just how connected this whole building really is. Now, the way this is actually visualized leaves much to be desired, but the concept of it is what's important. It's a shame that we don't get to see through the windows into an actual 3D space, but I like that the windows are there at the very least. Look closely enough and you can even see the security office that you started in. It's a cool thing to see, and something I'll get more into later in the video when comparing it to another location in the series. Jackie's chase takes place in an unknown part of the building. It's dark down here, dark and very crammed. The area itself doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense, but it does its job of being creepy very well. It's a great setting for the Jackie chase, which I'll talk more about when going into the animatronics. The next area of the game is the showrooms. The lobby is a very grand introduction to the whole area. It's a large room with many costumes and display cases scattered about. The Cleanovac statue in the middle adds to this grand feeling. It was Edwin's biggest success and was clearly highly important to him. It really is just a big showroom to present a wide range of all the possible stuff you can buy from the company. Smaller details, however, bring us back to the current state of the building. Most of the display cases are covered, and the room is very messy in general. The place is long abandoned, and it makes that very clear. The small detail here that a lot of people miss is this picture of Edwin's father. The room is full of little stuff like this that makes it feel so real. The walkway to the other showrooms is in terrible condition too. It has posters coming off the walls or completely covered, along with a number of random boxes and other objects. Even one of the lights are just out entirely. The main showroom you interact with is the one featuring Big Top. Similar to the lobby, it's very grand. The string lights lining the tent, the red and white stripes everywhere, and obviously Big Top himself all really play into a circus feeling very well. It does an amazing job at selling it. The whole thing is actually in very great condition as well, leading to the stark contrast I was talking about before. Besides the creepy mannequins, the room is not at all scary. The real scares here are actually behind the scenes. By entering this secret area behind the ball toss, you reveal a completely different feeling. It's more industrial and dark, and way more interesting than the showroom in my opinion. The showroom is awesome and very well done, but the vibe back here is just so different and understated. There's a bunch more mannequins, most of them missing parts. There's also power switches, breaker boxes, all the stuff you'd expect to find backstage. It's a good look at the inner workings of the showrooms. It's actually one of my favorite places in the game. It does lead to the next area, the Storytime Showroom. This is one of the areas most affected by decay. The theming is great, being a moon-themed bedtime story place. This again ties into what I was talking about with these stark contrasts. The theming itself is very comforting, but the state of the room is anything but. It's littered with random boxes, and the obvious feature, a giant moon-sized hole in the floor. It's giving ruin vibes with how damaged the building is. The rooftop is about the halfway point of the game, and it's a calm moment. You can once again see just how big the building is, and take in the sights for as long as you want to. It's a resting point before another round of chases and chaos. It also makes me appreciate the visuals of the game because it's really pretty. The glowing skylights of the warm lights inside, along with the gentle snow, combine to make a really cozy scene. Again, a stark contrast from the many moments of dark and scares within the other parts of the game. We do have to move on though, and the next area is hectic. It's the big top chase through some offices. The space gets turned into a maze from the big top mechanic, and it's very fun to play. I would also like to explore it, but you kinda can't due to the whole being chased by a large, deadly animatronic problem. I'll get into a little more detail later. The next area to enter is the workshop. It's easily my favorite area in the game, and it's no wonder why. The space is incredibly detailed, with costumes, workstations, boxes, and various parts. Combined with the chains hanging from the ceiling, the whole room is quite ominous. It feels real, something that this game excels at doing. The moonlight shining in from the high windows onto the hanging suits is also very creepy. There's so many little details here that add to the space, and I could look around it for hours. We can't do that in this video though, so it is time to move on. The space is very awesome and well done. We then head through the demonstration theater, which is the worst part of any modern FNAF game, before arriving at the doll hospital.
Oh, no. Poor Captain. Another Springlock failure?
This area is very well done. It certainly feels like a creepy hospital that you'd see in a horror movie about some ghost that haunts it. The main thing I love about this one are the implications that are made. That's because, well, Dollie's patients are the animatronics. If you look around, there's animatronic parts everywhere, along with the trash cubes that have parts as well. What I'm saying is Dollie is a mad doctor. She has parts of her patients all over the place. Now imagine if the patients were people at a normal hospital. Do you see how this whole thing is a bit creepy? There's parts hanging from chains as well to add to it. The area itself is also just off-putting. Hospitals are supposed to be very sterile places, and this one is just not. It's always creepy to see a space outside of its normal conditions. There's just something about this place that freaks me out whenever I'm in this part of the game. Up next is the warehouse, and it's definitely a warehouse. Before doing YouTube, I worked at a retail store, and the back room definitely always had a ton of boxes piled up like this. Obviously there weren't any animatronics or this crazy trolley thing, but the idea is the same. The boxes create a fairly crammed space despite the scale of the room being fairly large. It does feel like a very busy warehouse. More points for realism. We then go through this room. I have nothing nice to say about it, so I'm just not going to talk about it at all. Next is the admin wing, and it's another well-designed location. It's more premium than anywhere else, which makes sense considering it was for people Edwin thought he could trust. Even then, the area is still prone to the decay found elsewhere. Boxes, garbage, and trash are everywhere, creating a cluttered space that's difficult to navigate. Normal things you would find here are also displaced, such as chairs and tables. A little known detail about this area has to do with this door all the way in this back corner. You'd never ever see this in game, but if you go into the debug cam and go behind it, You can actually see the elevator room you'll end up in shortly. It's just another cool detail that, now knowing, makes this place feel even more connected. This whole area was once a grand and fancy place to work, but now, like most of the other parts of the building, it's in ruin. Heading upstairs to Edwin's personal office feels special. The space is a lot more dark and dim than the rest of the admin wing. The moonlight pours in from the diamond window and fills the room with mystery. The whole room is filled with blueprints, along with items that were very personal to Edwin. You can tell that he loved two things in life: his family and his creations. It feels like a fitting place to end the game. It does continue though. You head through a very FNAF 4 looking hallway and reach the elevator. The White Tiger tunnels are a weak area, not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of the actual location itself. It just makes no sense and doesn't feel real or very plausible in the slightest. It's just a series of dark rooms and hallways that exist simply to create some scary gameplay. It's the most gamified area in the game, if that makes sense. Again, animatronics later, but I don't have too much to say about this area in terms of the aesthetics. We now get to a more open-ended section of the game where you can go to a few different places. The first of these is the retail showroom. It's exactly as it sounds. It's very grand and puts on a show. There's a lot less decay and messiness here than most of the other rooms in the building. It is a store, so Edwin probably had it as a priority to keep it in good shape. It's actually the room that would have been the main entrance to the MCM. It's got loads of costumes, shelves full of products, and different displays for customers to look at. If you look at the room closely enough, you may notice something. It's actually shaped like the MCM we see in Help Wanted 2, or the model MCM seen at the end of the game. This space is an embodiment of Edwin's real dream, one that never quite ended up working out. It also connects to the moon tunnels. Similar to the White Tiger tunnels, this area doesn't really make any sense at all. The store feels real, but these tunnels do not. The research and development floor of the MCM is one of the most interesting and intriguing places in the entire game. Whether you love the lore or hate it, you have to admit that it is awesome to see a Freddy's location in full like this. Because it's a prototype area, it's obviously filled with many boxes, random parts, props that aren't in proper places, unfinished paint and floors, everything that would be in an incomplete space. It contains proto-animatronics as well. It's an awesome area to see. This also connects to a ride. The area leading up to it feels so different. It doesn't really feel like FNAF, but in a good way, because the area is quite unique and very cool looking. This ride takes us to the home of the creator himself. This place and everything in it shows us just how involved with his work Edwin really was. Despite this being his house, his family's house, every inch of it is covered in some sort of machinery or prop from his work. Animatronic insides, mannequins, cutouts, costumes, workstations, and tools. It's all here. Like, this is his kitchen, now fully overtaken by his work. It's a very personal area, and you can see that in certain spots. It's sad how this man's whole life got overtaken by his work. It shows grief. Not only does it show this grief, it shows it in one of the best ways we've seen in the entire series. The space is personal. It's so heartbreaking the more you think about this whole situation. That is all of the MCM. This building is truly beautiful, and each room feels unique from one another. A lot of people say that this place doesn't feel like it belongs in FNAF, but I'd have to disagree. Not only is the location itself just stunning to look at all the time, but the gameplay that it creates is also very well done. Specifically, the way that the environments interact with the animatronics and their mechanics. Secret of the Mimic has multiple unique enemies, and as such multiple different mechanics. Starting with Jackie, her chase is a great one to be the first. The crammed tunnels work perfectly for her character, the long arms taking advantage of the tight space. Overall, it's just a very solid area that greatly enhances how scary the chase can be. The way she moves is freaky. Again, the long arms work wonders in the small tunnels. Where the environment lacks in realism, it makes up for with how well this chase feels to play. The next unique enemy is Big Top. His first section is fine, but the chase is where he really shines. The maze-like space of the offices create fear and panic during every second of the sequence. Running forward, when all of a sudden this massive animatronic hand comes smashing through the ceiling directly where you're running to. It's terrifying. Big Top uses the space very well. This game excels at using these spaces to enhance how scary these husks of metal can really be in the right situation. The second part of his chase is even better. It's more crammed than the office section, and it's just as terrifying. Big Top comes smashing through the ceiling in random places, and every time I jump a little bit, even with like 80 hours on the game. It's a well done section. After Big Top, Nurse Dollie is the next unique enemy. As I said before, I love the doll hospital. Its design is not only just an awesome design, but it works well for Dollie too. She is kind of just a roaming character that you have to sneak around, but the area is indeed very fun to sneak in. The multiple chains and tight corridors really help to create a bit of fear while trying to avoid her. The unique thing here is that Dollie has doors that only she can use, which makes places that would normally be somewhat safe significantly less so. It's a cool idea that they only use once in the whole game. Dollie also has a chase, but that area is pretty weak. The visuals are cool, like the molten metal kind of theming that it has going on, but the chase itself might just be the worst in the game. It's kind of boring. The last part where you sneak around could be fun, but the scripted nature of it takes away from that. There's wooden boards that she can burn, but I think the area could have been expanded onto a bigger, less scripted sequence. Chica in the warehouse is just another roaming enemy, but the space does again work very well. The real content from Chica comes from the admin wing. The mechanic here that stands out are the cupcakes. They're somewhat similar to the mannequins found in Big Top's area, but significantly more annoying. That's because not only do they attract her attention, they can also kill you. Hello? Oh, it kills you. It kills you. The office space is very tight and hard to navigate without triggering them, so it is fairly challenging. Chica is a very quick animatronic, so it can be pretty scary to activate a cupcake and only have a short amount of time to react. It's yet another great section of the game that was well executed and uses its environment to its advantage. The White Tiger is next, and this part of the game is widely considered to be the scariest. While the area itself makes no sense to actually be here, it is the main cause of this fear. The complete darkness, broken up only by brief flashes of the dim lights above, is truly terrifying. The space is made to be confusing and hectic, and it does so much with so little. There's really not a whole lot to it, it's just a perfectly executed gameplay segment. A similar area to this is the moon tunnels. Again, very simple area, but utilized so effectively to create a freaky area. It's maze-like, and seeing the moon's light slowly appear around the corner is really scary. There are of course a few other areas like the house with M2 in it, but I think you get the idea. Every environment in this game is utilized super well by each of their unique characters. Of course they're all just the mimic in different suits, but each area plays very differently. With that, I'd like to do one more quick thing here, and that's comparing it quickly to the Pizzaplex. Being the only other large-scale location created by Steelwolf Studios, the Pizzaplex is quite different from the MCM. In fact, they're essentially complete opposites, where the Pizzaplex puts its horror into the liminality and strangeness of the massive empty building. The MCM utilizes tight, cluttered corridors to force you close to the animatronics. I bring this up because I think it's important to mention how steel wool improved on their location building. I love the Pizzaplex more than most people do, but even I can admit that it has many big problems. I'd like to think that they're getting better with this stuff, and that the next place we'll see will be even better. Another aspect of the MCM that is far better than the Pizzaplex is the connectivity. Recently, I made a video on all the cut content in Security Breach, and it really made me think about how disconnected it all feels. The MCM addresses this previous design issue quite a bit. Being able to see other areas of the building makes the space feel so much more real and alive, something that a lot of FNAF locations, including mainly the Pizzaplex, can often lack. The real point of this video that I've been hiding from you this whole time is that I really just wanted to yap about my love for Murray's Costume Manor. It's a great location, and I think that a lot of people don't really get to see that. Everybody always gets so caught up in all the lore and the meaning behind every little detail, and most of it probably isn't even important at all, but they miss the actual amount of effort put into every other aspect of this game. I love doing these deeper dives into the different FNAF locations, but I'm almost out of them entirely until we, maybe get some more eventually. I could do the Dead by Daylight map, or maybe even the movie locations, but I think this might be the last of these location videos for quite a while. If you enjoyed, be sure to like the video, comment what you want to see next, and subscribe for plenty more FNAF videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, superstars.